So now our hero section is ready, and now we have to work on productivity section, which is this. Here we are going to make our text editor, some sections, and also a card section. So let's go back to our editor and make a component here. But before that, please add a px3 in your container. Now inside the component, we are going to make one more folder named productivity, and inside that make a file productivity.tsx and tsrfc. Now this component will be a client component, so that use client, and we are also going to import our use state, and from the hero.tsx we are going to copy this and paste here, and we are going to import framer motion, so that motion from framer motion for our animations. So inside this we are going to have our first div with a class name of max width of 1280 pixels, mx auto, and inside this we are going to have div with a class name of flex mdpl10 space x3 md space x10. Inside this we will have one more div with the class name flex call item centers, and inside this we will have div, but we are going to change it to motion.div. And as we know that framer motion takes some values like initial, so initial value will be opacity 0, and while in view we are going to make its opacity to 1. Now for the transition we are going to give a duration of 0.3 seconds, and then viewport once will be false, and then we are going to give a class name. Inside that we are going to give relative, and now inside div we will have our svg, and below this we will have a span with the class name absolute, left 0, top 0, h full, w full, and let's go to the global.css and copy this one, and then come here and paste, and then we will have a z index of 3. Now outside this div we are going to have one more motion.div, and it will have initial value of height 0, then while in view it will have a height of 100%, and then transition will be of 0.4 seconds, and delay will be 0.3 seconds. And outside this we are going to give class name h full, w 3 pixels, max md, w 2 pixel, then empty 7 rounded empty bg gradient to bottom from. Now let's save and go and check here. Let me refresh it, and right now you cannot see anything because we did not add to our page. So here below div, make one more div with a class name px4 pt8 overflow hidden, and id will be productivity, and inside that we are going to import our component productivity. Now save it and go here and check. Let me give a margin bottom of 32. So now you can see that we have our SVG and blurring effect. If I refresh it, you can see the animation. But you cannot see our line, which is this, because right now h full is 0. So when we add these two text, then it is going to show. So for that, below this div, we can have one more div with the class name of md w10 by 12 mb24. Inside that, write motion dot div initial value will be opacity of 0, and while in view it will have opacity of 1. Then copy this, paste here, and make this to 6, and this should be the same. And after that, write viewport once false. Then we are going to give class name. Inside that, write text quantity pixels md text 2xl mb7 font medium text white, and then inside this we are going to have our productivity. Similarly, below this div we are going to have one more motion.div, motion.div, copy this from above and paste here, and change the delay to 0.5 and here delay to 0.4 and duration of 0.3. Now here write the class names text 28 pixel md text 40 pixel max md leading 8 max lg leading 10 lg text 5 pixel mb7 font medium. Then inside this div we are going to have a span with a class name inside this, and below this write these tags. Let's save and go and check here. We have to give a text white color here, text white, save, and if I refresh it, you can see the animation. I think we have given the wrong color, so it should be EE. And now let's work on this code editor part. We're going to make this from scratch. So for that, let's make a component here, code editor dot tsx, tsrace. Here import motion from demo motion. Now inside function we are going to define some variants. So that const container, first hidden will be opacity 0, then show opacity 1, transition of stagger children 0.1, and delay children this should be capital letter and this should be as of 0.1 seconds. Now after that, outside this container we are going to make one more variant, which is item, and here hidden will be of opacity 0 and y will be 3, and show will be opacity 1, y 0, and transition type will be keyframe. Now first thing we are going to make here is this part. Inside the return, remove this and write div with a class name, then rounded axle, border of 0.5 pixels, and then we are going to give border color, which will be then overflow hidden, relative, shadow to XL, and then we are going to give a background color. Now inside div we are going to have one more div with a class name of flex, item center, justify between, then we are going to have border and its color, so copy this from here and paste, and then we are going to give a padding of 4. Then inside div we are going to have one more div, the class name p next, this is just for identity, then max md hidden, and flex text color will be text 7t8590, and then font medium. Inside this div we are going to have two SVGs which you can copy from my GitHub, and then outside this div we are going to have one more div with the class name of flex, item center, justify between px2, py1, rounded md, bg. Then we are going to have a border, so copy this from here, paste here, and then width will be full and md w will be auto. And inside this div we are going to have svg, and then we are going to have a div with the class name of md px8 px2 text white space no wrap overflow hidden text 14 pixels, then text ellipse, and inside this we are going to write this text. Now below this we are going to have one more svg, and now save it. And after that, below this div, make one more div with same classes as we have above. So copy this and paste here, and inside this div we are going to have our svg. So copy and paste here. Now if I save and go here, refresh it, and I also have to, so we also have to include it here. So write code editor and then save it, and let's go and check. And as you can see that now we have our upper menu for our code editor. Similarly we can make the others. So for that, outside this div we are going to have one more div with the class name of flex and item stretch, and inside that write div with the class name of hidden md block p6 border r with 0.5 pixel width, then border color which we can copy from here, paste here, and inside that we are going to have our svg. So paste here, and then after this div make one more div with the class name min w is 0 and w is full. Now inside that we are going to have one more div with the class name of border bottom of 0.5 pixels, and then we are going to have its color. So copy that from here and paste here, and then text color you can copy from here, and inside that we are going to have unordered list with the class name of flex px3 and pt4, and inside this write li class name px3 py2 rounded t md, and bg color will be, then we are going to give text color of gray 300, and inside that we are going to write index.html. Now below that make one more li with class name px3 py2 and write script.js, and below that write li class name px3 py2 and then write package.json, and now below ul make a div with a class name bg and copy the color from here, and then p4, and inside this we are going to have a div with a class name flex, and we are going to, and then one more div Inside that we are going to have a array which will print number 1 to 12. So write array dot from length 12, then bracket underscore index, then arrow function. Inside that we are going to have a div with a class name of pr2, and we will give a key which will be index plus 1, and then inside the div we are going to write index plus 1. So now if I save and go here, you can see that our index script or JSON, and we have our number here. So now after that we are going to write this code. For that I'm going to make another file here, and so write code log, and I'm going to make this component here code block dot tsx and import that here. Now save it, and here I suggest you to copy this from my GitHub because there is nothing to explain. It's just we have used pre and span and given some spaces so that we can have this kind of look which we have already here, and it is also a. Now after that we are going to make this component here which will be a terminal, and it will also have animation. So for that, go to your code editor, and after this div you are going to have one more div with a class name of p4 text, and you can copy this color from here. Now inside this we are going to first make this menu, so that ul, and we will have a class name here flex mb3. Now inside the ul we will have li with the class name of pr3 text gray 200, and here then write terminal. Similarly, one more li with class name of pr3 and write output. Duplicate it 2 more times and replace this text problems, and then debug console. Now save it, and let's go and check. You can see our menu here. Now below ul we are going to have one more div, and it will be motion.div, and inside this we are going to define our variant. So variant will be container, and initial value will be hidden of the container, and then while in view, and in view we are going to make its value to show. Then we are going to write viewport once is false, and amount will be 0.5, and then we are going to have a class name overflow hidden, white space no wrap, font mono, text 14 pixels, text color, you can copy that from here and paste here, and then come to the next line, write one more motion.div, and write variant is equals to item, and then inside this div we are going to have our code. So first we will have a square bracket, then a span. Inside that we are going to write 0936, and we will give a class name of color fg. After that we will have a span. Inside that write starting space, then this Unicode which is inverted comma, and write span. Inside that we will give a class name of color, and then we will write watch extension VS Code API, and after span we will use the same Unicode, and in the next line we will write after, and then next line span, give a class name of color fg, done, and then write 248 milliseconds. Now if I save and go here, you can see that our code is visible here. So similarly we have to write for others as well. So I'm not going to write all of them. You can just go and copy from my GitHub, and if I save and go here, and you can see that all our lines here which is coming as an animation. So with that our first column is ready. Now we have to add an image over here like this. So for that, let's go below this, and after this div we are going to give a div with a class name of md block hidden border left side with a 0.5 pixel width, and then color you can copy from above. So this is the border color, paste here, and w will be full. Now inside this we are going to have one more div with a class name of flex item center, justify between px 16 pixels, pt 22 pixel, then pb 2, and text gray 100. Inside this div I want to have one more div, then an svg, so we can copy that from here. Now outside this div we are going to have one more div and an svg, so I'm going to copy both of them here and paste here. So with that our right side menu bar is ready. Now we have to add an image here. For that we can write after this div a div with a class name of px6 flex item center, justify between height will be full and pg will be 040d11 hashtag. Now inside this div we are going to use our image. So image, give a class name of full width and hauto md block, and the width will be 1238 pixels and height will be 1404 pixels and paste here. Now let's save and go here, and you can see our image here, but there is, I think we did not give the correct background color, and there should be two. So now if I save and go here, you can see that our code editor is ready. Let me refresh it one more time. So if I scroll down from above, we get an animation, and here as well. So with that, our half of the productivity section is ready. Now we are going to work on this part. For that, make a new component here, name code space tsx tsrafce, and then import it here, code space. Inside the code space, import use state, and then also import motion from frame of motion. Now inside the function, write the state forward set forward, and this will be a type of boolean, and its initial value will be false. Now we are going to define some variants here. So write const line height, then inside that first hidden will have height of 0, and show will have a height of 100%. Now inside the return, remove this and write a div with the class name of flex relative and empty pl10. And inside this, we are going to have an image with src this and class name absolute top 0 right 0 h auto and pointer event none. And below image, we are going to have a div with the class name of flex item center, then flex row and relative. Inside this div, we are going to have our motion dot div, and inside that we are going to provide variant is equals to line height, and initial will be hidden, and while in view it will have show, and then viewport will be once true once false, and then transition will have a duration of 0.3 seconds. Now outside this, we are going to have our class name, which will have a width of 3 pixels, max MD width of 2 pixels, then h full, increase origin top. Increase I have already defined in the global.css, and now below this, but before here we have to provide width. Width will be 2712, and height will be, below this motion.div we are going to have an image. You can copy that from GitHub, So here we have calculated the position of the image if we start shrinking our window size, and then we have provided our image source, and then it will have a display none if the window size is below MD, and then we have given an absolute position, bottom 4 and left 0. Now after this div we are going to have one more div with a class name of LGPL24, MDPL16, PL6, and inside that we are going to have one more div with a class name of flex maxMD, flex call reverse my8, item center LG, gap in the x direction will be 5, SM my12, MD my16, PB6, MD PB20, MD flex flow. And now inside this div we are going to have one more div and the class name. Inside that we are going to give a padding of 4 in vertical direction, MB2. Inside this we are going to have our motion dot div, and this will take an initial value will be opacity 0, and it will be 30 in the x direction, while in view we are going to make opacity to 1 and bring back to x is equals to 0, and then transition delay of 0.2 seconds, and then transition type will be tween, and then we will give a class name MD PR6. Inside this motion.div we will have a h2 tag with the class name of MB4 text 2xl maxlg text 20 pixel maxmd w10 by 12 lgw full text color, and inside h2 we are going to have a span with the class name of p by 1, with the class name of font semi bold text white, and then inside that we are going to write GitHub code space, and then outside this span we are going to have one more span, and inside that we are going to write this, and then outside h2 we are going to have a anchor tag, and it will have a on mouse enter property which will make the set hovered value to true, and on mouse leave it will make its value to false. Then we will have a class name py1 inline block text excel text white font semi bold, and inside anchor tag we are going to write check out GitHub code space. Now below that we are going to have a svg, then a div, and give the class name, then a ternary operator. If over is true, then we are going to make width 11 by 12, scale 100, otherwise it will have width 0, scale 0, and then origin left, transition is in duration 300 milliseconds, height will be 2.5 pixels, bg white, rounded full. Now let's save and go here and check if it's working or not. Below this div, I'm going to write one more div with the class name of dy4 tx6 w full, and then inside that we're going to have one more div with the class name of relative. Then inside we are going to have one more div with the class name of flex row relative, and then inside of that we are going to have our motion dot div, and the initial value will be opacity 0 and x will be minus 30, and while in view opacity will be 0 and x will be 0. And then we can copy other things from here, paste here, and then we are going to have our class name. Z will be 1 from top, its value will be 200 pixels, right 7, shadow 2 pixel. And one more thing, that here and here above sm it will be absolute, and inside this we are having two images here. So here we have two images. First is pic.png. I have given a class name of width 300 pixel, edge auto, and rounded MD. Similarly, for the second image, source is given, and there's one more error, that this should be minus. Refresh it, and after that we are going to have one more motion dot div. In this we can copy this from here, paste here, and then x value will be 30 and everything will be same. And then we will have a class name here, class name overflow hidden max w 333 pixels, bottom 0, rounded MD, relative hidden sm block, and then in between this we are going to have our another image. Now let's save and go here. You can see that our two images here. Now if I refresh it, you can see the animation. After that, below this div we are going to have one more motion dot div with initial value of fetch same value from above. So copy this from here and paste here. Then we will give a delay of 0.1 seconds here. Make this one as well and remove this from here. And inside this div we are going to have one more div with the class name of py4 and text left. And then inside we will have one more div with the class name of z index1 inline block rounded full px2 border 2 border color will be this. Then relative font medium. Then we will have a bg gradient from left to right, and then bg clip text transparent. And inside this div we are going to have one more div with a class name of font semi bold text 12 pixels. And inside this div we are going to have a span here with a class name of font semi bold and text 12 pixels. And in this we are going to write did you know question mark. And outside this div we will write h3 and class name text. Copy this class from here, paste here. Then margin bottom of 2, margin top of 3, lg text 6xl, md text 5xl, text 3xl, font medium. And inside h2 we are going to write 22% increase, and below that we'll have a p tag with the class name of mb3 md text xl, text base, font medium, text white. And inside p tag we will have, now let's save it and go here, and if I refresh it you can see the animation and all our component. And also we have to add a class name here with mb10 md mb32 and pb4. Now save it and go here and refresh it. And with that this part is also ready. Now we are going to make this card with this hover animations, and also inside that we are also going to make a text editor here. So let's start making that as well. For that go to the productivity folder and make one more file named hover card.tsx tsrafc. To build this card we have to import use state and use effect hook, and also we have to import use spring animated from react spring /web. Now inside the props we are going to define some props here which will be children, and that will be the type of react node. And then we are going to have a background color, and it will be a type of string. And then we are going to have direction which will be a type of string, and then we are going to have left, which will be a type of string as well. Now first we are making it a parent component so that it can be wrapped around other components. Then we are passing a background color. So what this background color is, you can go here and here you can see that there is blue color, and here is red, and here is green. So this is why we are using background color, because every time we use hover code, uh, we, we can pass this background color to change the color. Here this is the flex direction and this is the left position. After that we are going to define a function here which will be const calc, and it will take two arguments, x and y, both will be type of number, and it will give three values, all of them will be a type of number. And then inside this, first will be minus y minus window dot inner height by 2 whole divided by 360, then x minus window dot inner width divided by 2 divided by 250, and then we are going to have 1.02. So these are the three values that we will get, and below that we are going to define trans, and this function will give us the translate value of x and y. So and based on that this animation will take place. So in this function we are providing x, y and s, although we are not using s but we are providing it, and then we will get the output which will be a type of string, and here, and this will be a style which we will get from this function, and then we will pass it to our JSX. And after that inside the function we are going to define some states here. So first will be hovered, set hovered use state boolean, initial value will be false, then one more state which is cursor coordinates, set cursor coordinates, and then use state, initial value will be x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. Now below that we are going to use our spring hook. So for that at spring props set, then use spring, and here we will have x, y, s, and their value will be 0, 0, 1, and then we will define our config. Inside that mass will be 5, tension will be 6000, and then friction will be 1000. And after that we are going to use effect. So inside that we will define a function handle mouse position, and inside we will have a event which will be a type of mouse event. Then first we will get our x and y coordinate of our mouse. So client x and client client y, and we will set it to the event. Then we will set this value to set cursor coordinates x and y. After that we are going to add the listener. So window dot add event listener. It will be a type of mouse move and it will call the above function. And then in return we will remove the event listener. Window dot remove event listener. It will be a type of mouse move and then we will call the same function again. So all this function will be used just to show this type of animation, but the background color and this glass morphism type of effect will not come from this function. So we have to make some more functions here. So first will be const calc translate, and it will take coordinate, which will be a type of number, then container size, which will be type of number, and item size, which will be type of number. Now coordinate is the coordinate of cursor, container size is the size of this container, and item size is the div which have a position absolute, so you cannot see it, but the size of that div will be shown here. And then using this function we are going to return this value, coordinate divided by container size and multiply by container size minus item size. Now using this value we are going to calculate translate x, and based on that we are going to move our div which has position absolute. So it will be a type of window. If it is not undefined, then we are going to call our function calc translate, and inside that we are going to pass cursor coordinates dot x, then window dot inner height, inner width, and then 600. So 600 is fixed here, and similarly translate y should be a type of window. If it's not undefined, then we are going to call our function, and then we will pass some values here, dot inner height, and this will be 500, otherwise 0. Other than this we also have to write function for our mouse move and mouse leave from the container. So write const handle mouse move, and it will have event which will be a type of mouse event. Inside the function first we will get our x and y, client x dot x, client x colon x, client y colon y. Then we will make it equal to event, and then we are going to set x comma y. Then we are going to set x y s calc x comma y, and then we are going to set forward is true. Similarly for mouse leave we can write handle mouse leave. Inside the function we are going to set value to default, which will be xys. 0, 0, 1 and make the hovered value to false. And with that we have written all the functions required for our hovered card, and now we will write our JSX. So inside JSX, first remove this and write div, and before div we are going to write animated.div, and inside that we are going to have our own mouse move, and here we are going to pass our function handle mouse move, and on mouse leave going to pass handle mouse leave. Actually this should be type of react dot mouse event html div element. So inside the div we are going to have a style, and then here we are going to have a transform, and here we are going to pass our spring prop dot xys to, and then pass our trans function value which is a string, and then write our classes here, class name, and this overflow hidden mb3 md mb8 rounded excel. Now inside this div we are going to have one more div with a class name z index1 relative background will be hashtag 161b22 h full border p 3036 3D, and border will be 0.5 pixel width rounded axle shadow axle md flex. Then we are going to have our direction value here, direction, and I think we did not pass our props here, so inside the function remove this and pass children, background color, then direction, then left, and then it will all come from props. And now we can pass direction and then justify between, and then here we are going to have our children's, so that children, and below that we are going to have one more div, and here we are going to have a class name absolute width will be 350 pixels, border will be none, then bottom will be 50 pixels, h will be 1000 pixels, z will be -1, back, and if forward is true, then we are going to have opacity of 95, otherwise it will have opacity of 0. Next line we are going to have our styles, So first transform, we will have our translate x, and it will take value of translate x, and then pixel, then translate y, and it will take value of translate y, then pixels. Then we will have a background, then we are going to have our background, which will be background color. Then we are going to have our border radius, which will be 100%, and then we are going to have mix blend mode, soft light, and then we are going to have left is equals to left, and then we are going to have will change to transform, and then transition will be transform 0.2 seconds cubic Bezier. So this property is very important because this will help us to blend two colors so that we can have this kind of effect. So if we are getting this kind of error, the problem is that we did not put the undefined into the inverted commas, so you have to do that. And also there was typo here. Previously it was translate x, but it should be translate y. So with that, go to the productivity.tsx, and below this make a div with a class name of relative and z index of 1. Now go this folder and make one more file, copilot feature.tsx, and tsrafce. So in this component we are going to make this. So let's get started. So first thing we are going to do is import loop state, then import forward card, and then import motion from framer motion. Now inside the function we are going to define some states here. First will be hovered, set hovered, use state, and it will be a type of boolean. In initial value will be false. Then we will have a const show py, set show py, use state boolean, and initial value will be true. Then const show js, set show js, use state type boolean, initial value will be false. Then const show go, set show go, use state type boolean, initial value will be false. Then const count, set count, use state type number, initial value will be 0. And now we are going to define some variants here. For that, go to the code editor and copy this and paste here. And here we are going to change this to 0.5 to 0.05, and then remove this and this and save. After that, we are going to write our JSX here. So first we are going to use our hover card. Now it will take some values. So first value will be background color, and inside that we are going to pass 7. Then I'm going to pass the direction and then left. So left will be 0, direction will be empty. And then inside hover card we are going to have a div with a class name of mdflex, flex call, md space y20, flex1, p8, smp 10, lg py16, lg pr32, and justify between. And inside the div we are going to have a p tag with the class name of textxl, then md text 2xl, then mb6 font medium text with color, and then inside p tag I'm going to use a span with the class name of text white font medium, and then write GitHub Copilot, and then outside this span we are going to write this. Then below p tag we are going to have a div, the class name, and between those divs we are going to have an anchor tag. On mouse enter we are going to set this hovered value to true, and on mouse leave we are going to set the hovered value to false. After that we are going to have a class name, inside that empty text xl, then font semi bold, line block. We can write meet GitHub Copilot, and then we are going to use svg here, and we are going to use one more div with the class name of if hover is true then w will be 11/12, scale will be 100, otherwise it will have w0 and scale 0. Then we can write origin left is in transition, then duration will be 300 milliseconds, mb 3 pixels, height will be 2.5 pixel, and bg will be white and rounded full. Now let's save it and go and check if it's working or not. Refresh it. We have to add our copilot here. So copilot features, and now save it. Refresh, and you can see that it's working, but we cannot see the color. So let's check. So here I have written 2 times x. Now save it and go here. You can see that now it's good. And as for anchor tag, we will give this text white. And the reason that this was not working because it should be mouse leaf instead of mouse move. Now let's save and go here. And now if I hover, you can see the animation. So with that, our left part is ready. Now we have to work on the right part. So get here, and below this div, we are going to have one more div with a class name of overflow hidden, then rounded SLG, then Z index will be 1 and flex will be 1, shadow will be 3 axis, and then inside the div we are going to have one more div, class name of text left, and border of 0.5 pixel, and BG will be of this color, then border color will be hashtag 3036 3D, and then rounded LG, and text color will be, then we are going to have MD MT10, then MD ML0 SM ML10 SM MR10 MB16 ML3 and MR3. Inside this div we are going to have one more div, and inside that we are going to have one more div with the class name of overflow x auto, then pt2 px2 mb0 border bottom of 0.5 pixels, then border color will be, copy this from here, we can have one more div with the class name of flex item center bg, this text will be, then tab name. Inside this div we are going to have a button, the type of button on click we are going to change some states here, so use curly braces and set show py will be true, then set show go will be false, and set show gs will be false. And then we can have our classes here, so that class name flex item center py2 px4, and if show py is true, then we are going to use border of 0.5 pixels, rounded tmd, then border bottom of 0, then text white, then border color, which we can copy from here, paste here, then we are going to have bg color, otherwise we will have the default values. Now inside this button we are going to have svg with a span, and in that we are going to have draw scatterplot.py. Similarly we can duplicate this two more times and change the value. Now this will be true and this will be false. And then if show JS is true, then we are going to this, and then we are going to change this SVG and span. Similarly, if this clicked, then we are going to make this false and go will be true. And here as well, and here as well we will change the SVG and span. So now if I save and go here, you can see that now we have our right section appearing, and if I click on this, you can see that our menu is changing. Now after below this div, we are going to have one more div with a class name of p4 relative bg, and we can copy that from, and then if show py value is true, then we are going to then we are going to do nothing, otherwise we are going to have a class name hidden, and inside this div we are going to have one more div with the class name flex, and inside this div we are going to have one more div with the class name of text right, and inside this we are going to use array to print some numbers. So write array from length of 8, then underscore index, then arrow function, and use small brackets, write div, inside div with the class name of pr2, and then key will be index plus 1, and inside this we are going to pass our index value plus 1. And now if I save, go here, you can check, you can see our number here. Now below this div we are going to have one more div with a class name of flex1 overflow x auto text white rounded b md, and we will provide a key value here which will be count. So we are using the value of state here, and then inside this div, we are going to have our code here. You can copy that from my GitHub, so I'm just going to paste here, and here we have code with some classes just to give them colors. So here there's two type of animation. First is a parent and children animation, and second is just a simple animation. Here I'm giving a variant of container to this, which is a parent to all of between them, and this is just a simple animation here. So I'm just giving an initial value of opacity 0, y40, and while in view opacity 1, y0, and transition 0, delay of 1, and type will be just. And let me show you how these animations is going to look. So you can see that the first animation is this one, parent, and then motion dot span variant item, this and this, and second animation is this part, and here we don't need this class, so remove this one, and save it and go here. Refresh it. Now, now it's looking good. Similarly, let's write for these two. Now after this div, we have to make a replay button here like this. So below this div, we are going to have one more div with the class name of absolute w full z will be 1, bottom will be minus 16 pixels, minus 60 pixels, then left 0, and flex item center, justify center, margin bottom of 5. Now inside this div we are going to have a button, type button, and then we are going to have a on click, which will just increase the value of count, set count, count plus 1, and then we have going to have our classes. First will be flex item center, text white, justify between, and then between these buttons we are going to have our svg and text replay. Now let's save it and go here. As you can see that now we have a replay button. Now if I click on this, you can see the replay. Here we also have to add a class name, and inside that these two classes. And now if I save, you can see that there is a blue border. So for that we have to use that everywhere, because in the real GitHub web page we see that. And as you can see now we have a line. And similarly we can do for time.js and .go. So I'm just going to copy that from my GitHub. So here is the code for .js and .go. Now save it and go here. And now if I click on emoji.go, you can see that our animation and the code. Similarly, we have to add this class names to other as well. So copy this and add them here. And now save it and go back again. And now you can see that we have a line here. So with that, our Copilot feature component is ready. And now we have to work on these cards, which we will work in the productivity.tsx. So below this div, make one more div with the class name of flex, justify between, and item center. Inside that div, we are going to have one more div with the class name of flex, justify between, md space x10 maxmd flex call, and inside that we are going to use our hover card. So write hover card, and here we are going to provide our background color, which will be 7EE 787, then direction, which will be flex call, and then left, which will be 0. And inside this card you're going to have a div with the class name md flex, flex call, flex1 p8 sm p10 lg py16 lg pr32. And then inside this div we are going to have a p tag with the class name of text axle, MD text to Excel, MB6 font medium, and text, and then inside the p tag we are going to have a span, the class name of text white, font semi bold, and write GitHub actions, and below span we can write this. Now, after that, below p tag we are going to have a div and an anchor tag, and inside that we are going to have on mouse enter, set hovered value to true, and if true, on mouse leave, then we are going to set hovered value false, and then we are going to give a class name md text excel, text white, font semi bold, inline block, and inside the a tag we are going to write discover GitHub actions, and then we are going to have svg with these classes, and below that div with the class name of if hovered is true, then we are going to have width 11 by 12, scale 100, otherwise we are going to have width 0, scale 0, and origin left, transition, ease in, duration will be 300 milliseconds, height will be 2.5 pixels, and bg white, rounded full. And now outside this div we are going to have a div with the class name of overflow hidden and rounded slg, and inside that we are going to have image, so this will be image. So now let's save and go here and refresh page. You can see that our card is here, but right now it is taking the whole space, so we have to make one more card here. For that I'm just going to copy and paste here again, and I'm just going to change some things here. So after changing text and the image, now if I save and go here, you can see that now we have two cards, and if I hover you can see the animations. Here we have to pass minus 400 pixels. Now let's save and go here, and now it is covering the whole container if I hover on this. Similarly here and here as well, and when we change this you can see that we each time get different code and animation, and we can also replay the animation. So with that our productivity section is almost ready. The last thing that is left to do is to add this line. So for that, go here, and just above last div we will have one more div, class name md ml10 ml3 h 160 pixels, empty will be minus 20 pixel, then width will be 3 pixel, max md width will be 2 pixels, and rounded md, and we are going to give a bg gradient gradient to b to b, and then write from transparent via, and we will make this a motion.div, and we will pass initial value to be width 0, height 0, and while in view we are going to have height 100%, transition delay of 0.3 seconds, and viewport once is false. Now save it and go here, refresh. It's not showing. This should be 160 pixels, and as you can see that now we are having the animation. Let me refresh it one more time, and you can see the animation. And with that, our productivity section is ready.